I, right. This is going to be, hello everybody. Welcome to Our Spirited Life. My guests have led a spirited life and they're going to share how the journey towards leading that spirited life, because trust me, it isn't always easy. And in fact, Lynne, who's here with me today, and I, we've had a right old game with technology, trying to sort of get together. So here we are on Zoom. Anyway, welcome. I had a beautifully written script to welcome Lynne, which has now gone off somewhere. So all I know is that I remember from doing a little research, because we're new to each other, Lynne is an amazing person who's had 30 years in the hospitality industry. It's been a hell of a journey for her, and I wanted to tell us all about it. So Lynne, forgive the mishmash and welcome
Don't
to
worry.
Spirited Life. I know you are a truly spirited woman, and I'm looking forward to hearing your story. So let me basically begin with diving deep in. Oh, take a breath, Susie. You have worked in hospitality for over 30 years, and it has been a diverse and roller coaster of a journey. So please, would you mind starting at the beginning and tell us about it?
Okay, it's such a long story. I'll really bring it down to a very short thing. I mean, basically, from the age of 5, I grew up in a hotel.
Yeah.
So my parents ran a hotel and we lived in it. So I grew up until I was 20 in the hospitality sector. So I
Mm.
knew everything. You know, I'd been in the kitchen, I was doing the chambermaiding, I was doing the waitressing, I was doing the reception. I mean, I did every part of that reception. So hospitality is in my blood.
Mhm.
So really, in a kind of long story short, obviously hospitality is who I am. And
Mm.
the one thing that my mother taught me, and my parent and my father really, but everybody that was going to walk through that door was a king and queen.
Yeah.
And you know, they are paying to be in your establishment and to enjoy your company and
Mm.
to be looked after.
Mm.
So that is what I grew up knowing, how to
Mm.
treat everybody. So
Mm.
I've always been, you know, hello, darling. Hello,
Yes.
sweetie. Come and
Yes.
sit down. Would you like a drink? Give them
Yes.
something to eat. Da, da, da. So that is inbuilt. That is me. And so wherever I go, that automatically comes out like a recorded program.
Mm.
Is that, you know, everybody's a sweetie and a darling. No matter where I am, everybody becomes a
Or
sweetie and a darling.
yes, or in fact, however you're feeling, it's a kind of authentic professionalism, isn't it? Because it is you. It's in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Brilliant.
definitely in me. It is just me. There's nothing I can do about it. It was ingrained in me as my growing up, and that is who I am. So it's just you know, everybody introduces themselves to their name to me and everything. I mean, I remember yours, Susie, but you know, at the end of the day, I don't remember their names because I met so many people or meet so many people, and everybody is that sweetie and a darling, and it still sticks today. Anyone, I
And
might be talking to the
yeah, well, you did. You didn't you have some very high sort of celebrity guests and
Yeah. So it ran on. Obviously, I ended up opening my own. First of all, I opened my own salon because I wanted to do something completely different. So I had my own salon, which was very, very spectacular. That was ran for 5 years. Got a gym going and did all that. And same again. Hello, darling, come in. How are you doing? But then I went back to. I had a child. I was married and I had a child. And when he was about 8 years old, I decided that I was going to go back to hospitality. Opened a restaurant. It was fabulous. We had a lot of high media people. We had a lot of TV. Hugh Scully from Antiques Roadshow, you know, Judy Spires. We had a lot of people that were
mm,
back in the day then, because we're talking like 35 years ago.
mm.
But they used to come because they could absolutely just be themselves. And they
Yes,
were treated like they were treating people themselves, really. So they
yes.
sort of they saw themselves as they walked through their door.
Yeah, great.
It
Mm.
was the same sort of personality. And so people used to come and they honest to God, they would stay from the morning till night. They wouldn't go home. And their friends would come, then more friends would come, and it was like that. So it was great. So
So did
I
you
sold that
find
restaurant.
socializing and being the hostess of such a
Yeah,
lovely establishment a joy? Because
yeah.
it's hard work too.
It is really, really hard work. And to be honest, you know, that's why now we've only come out with Herbit, but that's at the other end of the line. But It's
Mm.
extremely hard work from morning till night. You are continually using that energy of
Mm.
hi, hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? That goes on non-stop, and you've got to be on a high energy level. And it's that
Yes,
high energy level that I seem to be able to tap into at the drop
yes,
of a hat. No
yeah,
matter how tired I am, I can go bing and
yeah,
woof,
yeah.
you know.
So even Lynn, during because you had many challenges and did you have to close down that restaurant and you opened a tapas place and what were the challenges? They both external,
Yeah,
with
so my first restaurant was so fabulous. I sold it for a lot of money and I did very well. And then I went on to I had a business partner at this point who was a chef. And we went on then to buy a tapas bar and bought a tapas bar opposite a beach, which was absolutely
oh,
beautiful. We
oh,
turned it with chandeliers and
oh,
velvet seats and
yeah,
beautiful Cafe Del Mar music. It was stunning. And
yeah.
people could come and have a glass of wine over the edge of the beach. But what happened is the cliff started to fall down behind us.
Oh
And the
God.
cliff, unfortunately, fell down, closed the road, and there was only one road into this town because it was a
Oh,
seaside town.
yeah.
And the whole town shut, and we lost a
Oh,
lot of money.
oh, what a shame.
Yeah. So, and anyway, this seemed to be the start of some bad luck because
Mm,
then we went on and we opened another inn. Somebody wanted to run the inn, and it was a brewery that owned it.
mm,
And we said, well, okay, look, we lost a lot of money through that business because not for no fault of our own because of what
mm,
happened.
mm.
And we weren't covered. It was called like an act of God, so we
Oh
weren't
yes.
covered by
Oh,
it.
honestly.
You
Mm.
know, I don't know how they get away with that,
No.
but it was terrible. But so many businesses in that town died as well, and the grown men were crying. You know,
Oh,
their
good.
livelihoods of 30 odd years that have been
Yeah,
lost. So it
terrible.
was terrible. So we went and opened another little inn,
Hmm.
and lo and behold, a couple of years later, the brewery went bust,
Oh,
and they said, "Oh, we have to let you go." So we had to go. We weren't expecting that, so we had to go. But we took that from no stars to 3 stars. It had some rooms there as well,
this was still
and
in Cornwall.
this was in Cornwall. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So then, to be honest, that's when really after that we I mean, that was 3 businesses with a lot of success, but unfortunately, the last 2 really took their toll.
Yeah.
And this is when we decided that we were going to make a product. So everything that the chef has done, his beautiful fine dining restaurant,
Mm.
everything that he cooked with, every ingredient that he would put into his dishes, we
Yeah.
made into a product called
Okay.
Herbit.
And this is Chef T. So
Yeah,
he been with you from the very beginning of your hospitality?
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
So we,
amazing. Your
yeah,
Instagram and your website are absolutely, and I can't wait to try some of the products as well. But
mm,
before that, you went from Cornwall to the East End of London.
yeah.
What a culture shock that must have been. And what did you do there with Immaculate?
Well, Immaculate was something that I actually started a long, long time ago. But
Mm,
what actually happened, I mean, that's another outside force. Immaculate is an accreditation to luxury holiday homes because luxury holiday homes are absolutely vital to small business and small communities because they moan about the second homes and everything, which I understand. But
mm,
those second homes that are into luxury holiday homes, if they have an arrival going into
mm,
hospitality again, when people meet and they're welcomed, and they have some lovely local cheeses, some local wine, some local hams,
mm.
that sort of thing, what you're doing is you're bringing in each week into that property local produce that they
Yes.
probably wouldn't know about. They would probably just come on holiday and go to Tesco's or Sainsbury's or whatever, and the little person doesn't know. But if you can put those local produce into those properties every week
Yeah.
and hundreds of them, you're actually putting back that money and keeping it in the community and put it into small business, helping them grow.
That
So
has been your
Immaculate is
passion.
growing small business
Great.
through
Okay. Yeah.
luxury holiday homes.
Fabulous. Because that sort of really pertains to what you are doing and still do. But
Yeah.
with 3 very successful businesses, for whatever reason going on, how did you find the resilience to go on?
To be honest, it's hit me hard because obviously we started our produce. We got our product going, and we were having it manufactured, and we were selling to Ocado and to
Uh-huh.
universities,
Right.
and we were just going on to Waitrose, and COVID hit, and we'd already yeah, we'd already been hit by the cliff. We'd already hit, but been, by the brewery locking us out.
Closing. Yeah.
And then London was something, because we'd got messed up with some unscrupulous people, but anyway, we managed to duck and dive out of that and left there, and our money was depleting by this time, so we made our product, and the product that we made was doing that, and then lo and behold, COVID hit, and so basically COVID finished us off completely. So we were left then with nothing, absolutely nothing. And we decided that, what was going to happen. I mean, it took 2 or 3 years to get over that, and people are still getting over it. And I just want to put this last bit in, really,
Mm.
is that we came to Bournemouth because we had some friends here, and the Bournemouth beach is 7 miles long. It's beautiful. And
Mm.
we sat on a deck chair with a beer one day,
Mm.
and we said, what are we going to do?
Mm.
We've absolutely gone from earning such fabulous businesses to outside influencers knocking us right down to nothing with
Yeah.
no compensation at all.
Yeah.
And we thought, what are we going to do? And we decided that we were going to reinvent Herbit, which are the ingredients of the restaurants that we did and all the fabulous meals that the chef cooked.
Ah, okay.
And we'd redo that with the dried herb, because the COVID had closed the wet, which was
Yeah.
mixed with extra virgin olive oil. So
Okay.
now we are now winning awards again with the dried herb. We're going all over again. But the resilience to that, I think, is your personal belief.
Yes.
You know that you've got a good product. You know that you're determined to do it. You know you have the energy to do it. No one's going to tell you any different, although we have been tested.
Mm.
But
Mm.
at the end of the day, I honestly think, there's been a few years gap in between each thing that has happened. We've been damaged a lot, but at the end of the day, when you know it's not been your fault,
Yes. Yeah.
you want to get back up again and go, hang on a minute, I've still got a story to write here.
Absolutely. Yeah. And things to,
And I think it's just purely that,
yeah.
is your self-driven self, to believe in yourself,
Mm.
know you've got something really good, and nothing's going to, maybe it's a test. I don't know. I
I
sometimes think,
Yes, I do. I think the life experiences, if we have the attitude where we learn from them and say, okay, what's this trying to teach me? Which is hard
yeah,
sometimes, but where there's a will, there's a way. And
yeah,
you're one of those women who has great will and everything that you need to keep it going. The Global Goodwill Ambassador as a humanitarian, has that something to do with what was that totally
yeah.
separate?
It
Okay.
is, because in the time when I was in London, and there was a few years in between time, obviously we're going back 35, 40 years, but in between that time, I started a charity called GMI, which is a global movement
Lynn,
initiative.
I'm so sorry. I've got a delivery. Right. I'll be back and I'll cut this bit
Okay.
out, or maybe I won't. You could keep talking. I'll be
Okay.
back. Right, darling. I do apologize. It's one of
Oh,
those.
don't worry, sweetie. I
So
tell you what, nothing surprises me
no,
anymore.
no.
Nothing.
And actually, it's quite good because all sorts of things can go wrong for all sorts of people, as you and I both know, and probably all of our
Yeah.
audience know. So the Global Goodwill Ambassador as a humanitarian, I love that. Was that awarded to you?
Yeah, it was awarded to me. I was working with the foundation, and I went to London quite a lot at the time. When I was in London, obviously, I was working with Pinewood Studios, and I was working with the Federation of Peace, which are people that work with the main bodies of countries, whether they be prime ministers or ambassadors, whatever they might be. But because it's the Federation of Peace, it's about people helping people in the country, third world wars. And I decided that I was going to start a GMI, which is a charity, global movement initiative, I called it, and it was to help raise money and help the veterans who were homeless.
Oh,
Because
how come and in America, how come we have veterans
Um,
homeless. I don't understand
I
it.
know, I know, and
Although,
that's really, yeah. And you know what breaks my heart? I think I've been homeless in the journey that I've had,
mm,
lost
mm,
losing everything, you know. And to be honest, and I got out there and I started looking after the veterans and I started raising their profile
mm,
and got the MP John Taylor involved actually, and it was
mm,
him. Sorry, John Mercer, his name was MP, and it was him that actually got the position of the new position in the Parliament for caring for veterans because there wasn't
ah,
very much going on.
yeah, yeah,
So that was another part. You know, I mean, there's an awful lot of things going on, but I think when you fall down yourself and you go in the mud, if you like, if
mm,
you walk in through that mud, people at the bottom of the barrel are there to help you. You know, they will help you. They will give
yeah,
you everything.
yeah, yeah.
And I learned that
Yeah,
lesson.
yeah.
You know,
I agree with you, Lynn. But I think whether there is, it's, it's sink or swim, and some
yeah,
people are just not ever going to sink. And if you do, then you're damn well going to make sure that you swim, keep
yeah,
paddling, just keep paddling. And your story is one of perseverance, innovation,
mm,
deep-seated commitment to making a difference. So, but I didn't realize
mm.
I thought it was to farmers and people. So, what do you need to let people know about the struggle? And also, why is there so much noise in the world today, do you think?
Well, you know what? I'm very spiritual now. After all these years, I've become very, very spiritual, and I do believe that we are living on the fifth, sixth dimension.
Yes.
And you know, it's like I was talking to my business partner yesterday, and he said, you know, I don't think we should be in this world anymore. I think we should be gone on to another level because what has happened to the world?
Mm,
There is so much destruction. There is so much noise. There
mm,
is so much negativity going on in the world.
mm,
What has happened to everything? A simple thing like last night I just went out on a date. I mean, it was very funny from beginning to end.
mm.
We went for something to eat and I said let's have a liqueur coffee. Now I've been in hospitality all my life. I'm sure you know what a liqueur coffee is.
Yes.
And I love a liqueur coffee at the end of my meal. And anyway, I went up to the bar and asked them if we could have a liqueur coffee. Coffee machine wasn't working. They didn't have any coffee. So we left there. We went across the road to the Hilton Hotel.
Okay.
And I thought the Hilton Hotel in Bournemouth are bound to have
Mm,
liqueur coffee.
mm.
I'm sorry, there's no coffee machine. We can't make you a liqueur coffee. And this is what I'm saying about the noise that is what is going on in the world today, that especially with hospitality, because wherever I go, I cannot be happy. The food is wrong, the service is wrong. It seems like nobody cares anymore.
I remember I did photography for a polo match that was in aid of hospitality aid.
Mm,
About five different hotels did this massive sort of afternoon tea, and it was amazing. But
yeah.
I did understand from that how hard it is being in hospitality, and a bit
Mm,
like veterans. If you injure yourself or fall ill,
mm,
there's hardly any help for those who are hospitality.
exactly.
And it's hard graft, and especially when, as you say, the customer is king or queen. Um,
Exactly.
I think it's just maybe also that, and I might get into trouble for saying this, but sometimes other cultures are better at being serving. It's not so,
Yeah.
perhaps that's right. I mustn't make a sweeping statement, but
No,
um,
I understand what you're
but,
saying because, yeah, there are different cultures that serve
yeah,
you better. And
mm,
I think this is what is just happening with UK, especially at the moment, is that unfortunately, as a country, we're failing rapidly, and
mm.
we are going down the pan, basically. You know, they are losing all the values that we once
Sad to
upheld.
hear. Yes, I mean, in some ways, that's sad to hear. I think we're an amazing country, and I don't have
Mm,
any plans to leave it. But there are many sad things going on, and I don't think it's
Mm.
just in this country. But yes, the fifth dimension. Can you explain what is meant by the fifth dimension? Because I kind of know about it, but probably not enough.
Yeah, so we all live in a paradigm. So if you imagine a grid, like a hologram,
Mm,
and there's lots of cubes in there, and there's lots of graphs, lots of lines that way, horizontal and vertical, and also alongside as well.
mm,
So the fourth and fifth dimension is that we've been living in a 3D reality, and I think what we're doing is that some of us some of us are chosen, I think, and I think you have to fight to get out of this 3D reality world,
mm,
and only the people that are strong and fit and will get through are deserving to go into the fourth and fifth dimension,
mm,
which is a higher level for your spiritual self,
mm,
self-serving. I'm finding a lot of peace here where I am now, which is basically believing in yourself and letting things go,
mhm,
letting the
mhm.
badness go, just allowing yourself not to be hit by the negativity that goes on in the world and allowing it to pass through you.
Yeah, but sometimes, Lynn, as a mental toughness assessor and facilitator, and mental toughness is essentially positive resilience plus positivity.
Yeah,
Sometimes some people who are mentally sensitive, it's really hard to
yeah,
do that. And I think that's where we come in as the
yeah.
strong who bounce. I don't call it bouncing back, I actually call it bouncing forward. That's where we can help people if they're willing to, if they want to be helped, and if they're willing to, to do the work, because the work to go into a better place can sometimes be hard and painful.
Very,
And
very, very painful.
yeah, yeah,
And you're right. You're definitely right. But you know what? It's all to do with self-belief.
yes, but
It's
I work with
only,
women who have none. Some women have had that. I grew up with very low self-worth for a number of reasons. My
mm,
stories in the first volume of the two books I published, Women of Spirit. No self-worth, no boundaries, was a pretty girl, and got into all sorts of difficulties with relationships, married three times. It was a hell of a story because of no self-worth or self-belief in my value. I was
yeah,
grateful when husband number one, an army officer, married
mm,
me. That's crazy. And so, but after three disastrous marriages, I decided that if anything was going to change in my life, it had to be me. And
yeah,
that's the key, is that
yeah,
awareness, and hang on a minute, something's not working, and the only person who can change that is me. So I
mm,
love to help women in that way.
mm,
So I want to hear more about Herbit. With Chef T, you founded Herbit.
mm.
And I have to tell you that looking at your Instagram makes me just want to go cook with them.
Yeah,
Tell me a bit about how and why you founded it. So the products now, now that COVID has gone, and you can really get
mm,
out there with these, because you have won um southwest of England. Oh, Taste of the West Gold Award with Herbit.
yeah.
So tell me about them.
Yeah, so we basically put them in because you send your products in, you become a member of Taste of the West, and Taste of the West is obviously a Southwest-based business,
Yeah.
and they're a certified body really that they have chefs, they have restaurants, they have cafes, they have all sorts of hospitality businesses really in the food and drink industry, and they have wines and that sort of thing, and so they judge them basically to see whether or not you're in a certain particular like a guide, like a certification.
Yeah.
And we first of all put our Herbit into the gold awards, and we won the gold 2022, which was before the COVID, and
Mhm.
that was our premium product, which was blended with extra virgin olive oil,
Mhm.
and it was absolutely delicious. And we had to send it off to the laboratories for criteria making and microbes and all that sort of thing.
Mm, mm.
And it was really, really great. And that unfortunately was when COVID hit us, and that's how we had to reinvent ourselves again with the dried. But what we're doing with that now is that, funnily enough, we're just going into Dragon's Den. We're just
Ooh,
going, yeah, we're just going through the motions of actually them
Um,
accepting us to go in. So
must
we're
keep me
hoping that we
posted.
can.
Yeah. If and
Yeah,
when you do, keep me posted so we can share on social media as well.
yeah,
We'll know.
yeah.
So
Because
have you
what I
got,
think the story just quickly there with the Herbit is that, like I was saying, if you create the demand and you create the sales and you get it out there and you make it visual, and how brilliant it is with cooking and how simple we can make the children eat today very
mm,
easily by simply adding it
mm,
to whatever they're cooking. They
mm,
don't have to go shopping for individual celery and cilantro and parsley and sage and everything.
yes.
It's all there done for them, but it's completely natural. So
Oh,
if they can do that and we create the demand, we help the farmers, and
yes.
that's where the farmers
And
come in.
that's where your passion for
Mm.
helping local businesses, local
Yeah,
farmers, and
yeah,
producers, and that ensures that the economic benefits remain within the community. Why is that
yeah.
so important to you?
Because as I was growing up, obviously we lived in a small village in Foy in Cornwall, which was beautiful, and my
Mhm.
parents had the hotel. So when I started my businesses after that, I realized how difficult it was for small businesses to grow, really, and to
Mhm.
survive, because there were these big corporates of Tesco's and such alike,
Yeah.
who unfortunately, if you put one of those in a small town, then you're going to kill the
Mm.
high street.
And
And our high
supermarkets
street has been
also.
killed.
Okay. And supermarkets
Yeah.
are not good with suppliers, are they? They're brutal.
No, no, they're getting supplies from all across the world when really they should be just homing into the local produce. You
Mm.
know, they're beginning to do it. They've started to do it. Waitrose are quite good at doing it, but they don't need to be having these big, huge corporates anymore. We just need to have our high streets back.
Mm.
Get out the small tailor, soldier, candlestick maker, the baker. Get
Yeah.
them back out on the high street. You know,
Yeah.
that's what we need to do.
I think
Otherwise, how are we going to encourage enterprise? How are we going to encourage people with their own inspiration of making something themselves and crafting it?
being
How are we
self-sufficient,
going to do that?
the challenge is, Lynn, I think convenience is so big now, and we're used to
Mm,
having all the produce we want in a beautifully laid out in a supermarket at any time of year. And as you say, the
absolutely.
supermarket now, it's carbon footprint, isn't it? And there is
Mm,
a movement, and you've been part of that for local produce and reducing carbon footprint. And long may that continue and grow more
mm,
powerful, as well as organic as too. So.
yep.
We've got about
Yep.
10 minutes left.
Okay.
Uh, I want to know how you actually switch off and practice self-care, if you must do, hope.
Yeah, I live by the beach now because, to be honest, I grew up next on the river. I was by the sea. And how I switch off is I just walk down to the beach. I spend
Oh,
time on my own,
yes.
just looking at the waves, looking at the
Water.
sea and the sky. That, if you can get out in nature, get out onto the beach and the sea, and just be quiet and just take time for yourself.
Mm.
There's no better relaxation than being in nature.
Yes, I agree.
Homing on the trees, homing on the plants, homing on the sea, and on the sand. There's no better way than to pick up those electrolytes, walk
Yes,
barefoot,
yes,
and
yes.
re-energize yourself with the world.
There is a book called Earthing, I think, which is
Mm, yeah,
and how healing that can be.
yeah,
I always say when you're out amongst trees, look up because there's a
yeah,
whole new world up there. We're all often looking down at where we're
yeah,
living, or some people on their phones, and looking up the sky. Just the
yeah,
leaves and that pattern. It's stunning. So
yeah.
does that bring you joy and lift your spirits, or is there something else or someone else that does that?
No, it's nature itself, and it's the
Yeah.
Lord God itself, and it's our spiritual selves. I do believe that we are a spirit in a human body, and I
Yes.
do believe that our higher self is is a spiritual person, and I do believe
Mm.
that we're all forms of energy, and we actually
And
come from the earth itself, and we come from the
connected.
makeup.
Yes, I agree. I agree. So, do you have one main takeaway that you'd like to share with our audience, Lynn?
Oh, please buy Herbit. Go out, enjoy Herbit. Make yourself healthy, cook yourself delicious food.
Oh, I
It's
love
all
that.
made for you, and just enjoy dinner at home as if you're in a five-star restaurant and
Right.
you've got me looking after you.
Oh, brilliant. So, how do we find you and Herbert?
Okay, so we're herbit.uk is our website. You can buy Herbit on there. Straight through, no problem. It's a shop on there. You can buy, that's where you can get us. We
Mm,
are just in the process of going out to mainstream now. We're talking with manufacturers. We're going to be going out to a wider audience,
mm.
and obviously, hopefully, sending that abroad so that people can actually taste English herbs and
Good
English
old
food.
British cultivation,
Yes,
and absolutely, and still
yeah,
supporting local farmers and produce and
yeah,
communities.
yeah.
Brilliant. I love it. So,
UK,
herbert.co.uk.
herbit.uk.
.uk. Okay, thank you. I'll put it on the thing. So, what's your chosen piece of music and why have you chosen this?
Well, at the moment, I mean, I love music. I've got a lot of nostalgic music, but at the moment, I'm loving the Lady Gaga Flowers. You
Okay.
know, she talks of a strong, independent lady who can buy herself flowers, write
Yes.
her own name in the sand, love
Yes.
herself.
Is that when, because that's a Miley Cyrus song, and
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm calling her Lady Gaga. It's
yeah,
Miley Cyrus.
it's Miley Cyrus, but Lady Gaga, I've looked it up and because I thought, oh, and because I love that song as well. And Lady Gaga has done some, she's sung with her, she sung the song because they're both strong
Yeah,
women.
I'm
So
pretty sure they are together.
yeah,
Anyway,
yes, they
sorry,
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
that song is about a powerful female who says that she can buy her own flowers, write her name in the sand, hold her own hand,
yeah,
love
love it.
herself. And
Mhm.
that is my end of thing. Love yourself, believe in yourself, and don't let anyone tell you any different because you are fabulous.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are on the same page with that. Brilliant. So thank you so much, Lynn, for sharing your incredible story. And I do think dedication to the hospitality industry and supporting
Mm,
business and farmers, as my father was a farmer in Dorset. So I think it's absolutely wonderful. So thank you. So to our audience, forgive the little hiccups in this. We're just laughing through it, so hope
yeah,
you do. Um, and if you found this episode enjoyable and inspiring, which I'm sure you will, feel free to share it as much as you can. And please also remember to like and subscribe. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again very soon. Stay with me, Lynn.
okay.
Good heavens. Now, I have no idea on Zoom how to splice and cut and everything. So, it might have to just go out as it is. But, this just shows that however practiced we are at doing
Yeah, there's always something to learn.
something may throw us, and we've learnt something today. It's been an absolute joy. And let this not be the last time that
No,
connect.
yeah.
I will, when I'm down in Dorset, I'd love to meet up. I'm going to go
Oh,
on the
Susie,
website.
do please tell me when you're here in Dorset because I
Oh,
would love to learn a little bit more about your family with the farmers and everything. That
yeah.
are honest to God, it is so close to my heart.
Oh,
You
thank
know, and
you.
it's to be honest, it's just so important that we eat healthy food.
It is.
Otherwise, we're not going to be healthy. It's just so simple.
Without
Eat
being
healthy food.
healthy, an awful lot of things go down the pan as well.
Yeah,
I mean, not eating healthy food because I love cooking. I've trained as a cook and I love, I most vast majority I eat home cooked food, as does my lovely partner. And he cooks too. So that's, because we enjoy food. But
yeah,
and I think it's people need to understand the health benefits of cooking your own food and the joy. I think
yeah,
when you cook with love, it tastes different, and the joy of preparing a
absolutely.
meal for loved ones, even simple. And working mums, busy mums, single mums, they sometimes they just can't. They need convenience. But if what you're doing is going to help
Yeah.
with that prepared to, and I love
And that's
on your Instagram, you've got a page, and I've screenshot it um of the benefits that different herbs bring.
yeah.
And so that's good as well. So
I mean, if we can get children, I mean, lots of children are beginning to cook now at a very early age. They're getting interested,
mm,
because there are busy parents that just aren't there anymore, and
mm,
children are having to look after themselves.
yeah,
If we can educate them at how simple it is with herb itself,
mm,
just to actually add that to any kind of food that you're cooking,
yeah.
you're getting that goodness inside you, and it's essential.
Is
You're
and
not taught at school.
people spend a fortune on supplements as well. I'm going to keep this bit in because it's really important. And I'll just say goodbye again because and let me stop recording. So bye bye to our audience and thank you for listening. I really appreciate it.